The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hi, and welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Happy Valentine's Day. Today, Gilbert is out with a client, so is myself. But we have a fantastic show that we have planned. We're waiting for my guest is coming in. So she was here a couple weeks ago, and I just thought it would be very appropriate for her to come back. She's the author, M.J.Duffy, and she writes the Sizzling series of the Zankli Chronicles. And so it's all about love and sizzleness and so forth. So I thought it would be very appropriate. And then she's launching her big event in March. So we want to give her that launch off, or the intro into her launch off. So kind of excited. We're going to read an excerpt from her book. I tell you guys, just as we did with the store, when she was on a couple weeks ago, you really, truly want to get the book because it's just pretty awesome. But today is, in addition to being a Valentine's Day, it is also Black History Month. It's been Black History Month all month. And so, and we still got another 10 days or so. So what I want to do today is to talk about a Black history figure. So, we all know the traditional figures that Black history. We usually do Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and Martin Luther King. But I wanted today to talk about, I recently read a book that I found was pretty awesome, and it is called, her name is Mary Ellen Pleasant. And what I was just so impressed when I read this book called Black Fortunes. And that's what I told you we were going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks, on books that you should be reading to learn more about your history. So one of those books, Black Fortunes, is the author is Shamari Wilkes. The book is all about six freed slaves that actually became millionaires in the 1800s. And so Mary Ellen Pleasant was one of those. And so I'm going to talk about her today. So Mary was born on August 19th, 1814 in Virginia, and spent her early years in Nantucket, Massachusetts. She worked as a bond servant to the Hussey family, an abolitionist family. She later married James Smith, a wealthy former plantation owner and abolitionist, and Mary Ellen and James worked on the Underground Railroad. After James' death 4 years later, Mary Ellen continued her work as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. She then married John James Pleasant around 1848, and to avoid trouble with the slavers for their abolition work, the couple moved to San Francisco, California in April 1852. Mrs. Pleasant established several restaurants. Now, mind you, this is in 1852, right out of slavery. This lady recognized opportunities, and she opened several restaurants for the California miners, because at that time it was in the middle of the gold rush time, and so there was abundant opportunities, and so she started opening up these restaurants in order to service and feed the miners, because again, when you're starting a business to solve a pain point in the marketplace. So obviously having a place to eat, they were working hard in the mines, and this was a perfect opportunity. So with the help of a clerk, Mrs. Pleasant amassed a fortune by 1875 through her investments in various businesses by 1875. She also helped to establish the Bank of California. And I don't know, for those of you, the Bank of California, I believe I remember banking at the Bank of California. So I want to say that might have been Crocker Bank or Crocker Bank and then Security Bank, I think. It became Security Bank. So she was the founder of the Bank of California. She earned her title as the mother of California early civil rights movement, establishing the local Underground Railroad. She financially supported John Brown from 1857 to 1859. And in the 1860s and 1870s, Mrs. Pleasant brought several civil rights lawsuits in the state of California, especially against the trolley companies, which most of which she won. And during the 1800s, campaign smear by the widow of Thomas Bell, who was the clerk, damaged her reputation, and she never recovered her privilege from this campaign, and she died on January 4th, 1904. But just think about it. You know, a lot of our businesses are always saying, I need money. Well, in order to start my business and run my business. But here, this woman, obviously, if she was just coming out of slavery, there was no money for her. So she made a way out of no way. And what she did was she owned these restaurants, and that's how she made her cash. So if they can do it, we certainly can do it. So that is my moment in history, Black History Month, and Mary Ellen Pleasant. There's several books out there on her. And she reminds me of my grandmother. I was telling my aunt today, after I had read this book, that I thought that if my grandmother had not had 13 children and a husband, that she might have done something like this, because that was the kind of forward-thinking person that she was. And so there you go. Mary Ellen Pleasant is our Black History moment in history. Go check her out. Her last name is spelled as it sounds, Pleasant, Pleasant. And then also get the book Black Fortunes. There are a number of other very successful, right out of slavery, before the ink dried, of the emancipation, that became millionaires within a year or two after they acquired their freedom. But and here's the caveat that I really love, is that they were working in unity because they were working to free the other slaves, provide them with their freedom. So they were working with abolitionists. So they were using their money and their freedom in order to help free others. And that's a mentality that us as Black people have to go back to. If our ancestors did it and we were completely dysfunctional after being in bondage for 200 and some years. So I don't understand why we as Black people, with all of the resources and all the opportunities that are afforded to us, why we can't do that. So we really need to take some pointers from history and be able to duplicate that in the now, because that's really important for us to make that happen. Oh, we have a call. So let's see who's calling in. Hello.
Hello, co-host.
Hey, Gilbert, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to call in and agree with you. I endorse everything you're saying.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
This is great.
So what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Oh,
Happy
man,
Valentine's Day, first of all, co-host.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day to you, too. I'm thinking I'm going to have a nice dinner later and kick back, and we're going to relax and do Valentine's things.
Okay, all righty. I'm going to get my nails done, and I'm going to pamper Crystal. That's going to be my Valentine's Day, the pamper of the Crystal.
I hear you.
I am my own sweetheart.
Man, I forgot to send you some flowers.
Oh, you can bring them next week.
Okay, I'll bring them next week.
Yes, you can do that. Hey, before you hang up, when you talk to we can't get onto Facebook, so we thought we'd try yours. So
Okay,
And
that's
but you
cool.
got to give LaRon your password.
Okay,
But huh?
I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him.
Okay. And your friend Tina Wells is listening in today.
Oh, she is.
Yeah, she called me earlier, and so she was.
Very good, very good. All
Yeah,
right, I like that.
yeah. All righty
All right,
then, sir.
I'll let you do
Enjoy.
your thing.
All right, enjoy your Valentine's Day.
All right, take care, co-host.
All right, bye bye.
All right.
So there you go. Gilbert called in. So now, before we get, because our guest is in this audience and in the studio, and I am very excited, so we can get a little sizzle from her books is very appropriate for Valentine's Day to set the mood for those who have partners that they want to share their evening with. So, but before we do that, there are a number of events coming up because once we get going, probably going to not be able to talk about the events. So, there are a number of events that are coming up that I think is important that that you guys know that's happening. So, one, and I'm a speaker at several of them. So it's Black History Month. So there's a lot of events going on for Black History. So one of them is the Los Angeles Urban League, a look back at African American entrepreneurship. I'm going to be sitting on a panel at that event, and it's Friday, February 28th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Museum of African American Art. That is the one that's here on Crenshaw at 4005 Crenshaw Boulevard, third floor, next to Macy's. And you need to RSVP at the laul.org, the Los Angeles Urban League.org/Black History. And Dr. Allison Rose Jefferson, she's a historian and author, is going to be speaking. She will have books that are autographed copies at Echelon. So you want to pick that up. So put that on your calendar. So that's the first event. And the next one is, let's see, what else we got going on out here. We have, so now this one is near and dear to me. So there's two events that I've been working on with my kids. You guys know that entrepreneurship is a big thing for me, for kids. And so our children are participating in a business, what are they doing? They are participating in a competition on March 28th, and it is called the YEC, the Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge, and it is going to be held, and it's Union Bank is presenting it, and they're sponsoring it for the kids. And so the kids are going to pitch their business ideas. They're going to be pitching for a grand total, a prize of $5,000. It's a program that the kids, we've been training for the last 12 weeks, so we'll be completely 12 weeks by the time the 28th rolls around. And they will be pitching their business, and I believe there's 13 schools and organizations that have kids. So I have two kids. I have two teams, a set of 4 of each one that have a brilliant idea for their business that they're going to be pitching. So we'd love to have you come out. It's going to be hosted at East LA College, and this is on Saturday, March 28th at 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock. And that's at 1301 Alva Cesar Chavez in Monterey Park. So come on out, support the kids. You can go to our YEC. I believe it's YEC.com. There's an Eventbrite. So I'll get that information to you so that you can get your information. You can get your ticket. It's free, but come out and support the kids. Okay. Come out and support the kids, and we love that. Now, on the back side of that, my favorite program that I do every summer is Biz Camp. So if you guys, anyone out there, have a young, aspiring, budding entrepreneur between the ages of 13 and 18, we would love to teach them how to be entrepreneurs. It's an all-day summer camp program. There's going to be speakers and guest speakers, and myself. I'm a certified instructor. And at the end of the course, we're teaching the entrepreneur mindset and business skills that they need to run a business. But at the end of that, they will have a business plan. They will pitch. The grand prize is $750. It's an amazing experience for the kids, amazing experience for me. There's 2 sessions. Session 1 starts on June 15th to July 1st, and session 2 starts July 6th to July 17th. We have 25 openings per session. So sign your kids up. It's an absolutely free program for them, and we even pay them a little stipend for attending. So get your spaces right away. You want to go to laul.org/bizcamp, biz with a hyphen before camp, to sign up. Get your child in right now. It's an awesome camp, the best experience your children will have for the summer. And I'm going to pat myself on the back because we've had some amazing kids that's come through. And this is just a program that I absolutely love. Okay. Now, on the same day as March 28th of the YEC camp, there is Dr. Rosie's Black Writers on Tour in Carson, California at the Carson Center. You want to go. All of the Black authors and vendors will be there all day from 10 a.m. and you will have a fabulous time. And at 2 o'clock, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but at 2 o'clock, we will be speaking on digital entrepreneurship. So we want you to come on out. And finally, before we go to commercial break, we have, and we're going to announce this one in a little bit, a book launching for Defiant Love. That's on March 29th. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that when the author and I are sitting here. But the week before that, March 14th at 11 o'clock, to 2 o'clock, I'm speaking again at the Women's Economic Empowerment Tea for the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the Los Angeles chapter, and we will be at the Shadow Tea Room in Torrance, California. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me as well. I had such a fantastic time last year speaking at that event, and so this year they've asked me back, and I'm going to be talking on the digital entrepreneurship. So I'm excited. So there you go. There's all the events. We're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to bring my guests up, and we're going to get to, oh, wait, one more thing. The Recycling Black Dollars resource guide is hot off the press, and this is our 2020 edition. And so if you have a business in here, that's fantastic. This is where you find your Black businesses. And on the cover, we are so proud to salute our legacy businesses, the Bakewell Company and the LA Sentinel. It's Danny Jr. and Danny Sr. And the Bowers, Alice Bowers and Vivian Bowers, Bowers and son, but it's really Bowers and Vivian, the daughter. They have been in business for 40-something years, and they now own pretty much that whole little square right there on Central Avenue at 25th Street. If you want your clothes clean, take them down to Bowers. And then Adolph Doolin and Terry Doolin, and Greg Doolin. So we're saluting Doolin's Soul Food Kitchen. And then finally, our fourth legacy businesses is Jeanette Bowden Pickens at 27th Street Bakery. So you want to pick this up at Malik's at the Baldwin Hills Mall bookstore, also at the LA Sentinel, and you'll be able to find copies at 27th Street Bakery. All righty, and if you want your own copy, they're $7, and you can reach out to myself or Jackie B at Recycling Black Dollars, and you can get your book. All right, now we'll go to commercial break.
Small businesses spend more than $500 million each year combined trying to find missing or replace missing paperwork. Hey small businesses, are you tired of losing out on business opportunities because your paperwork is not in order? And don't you hate having to register in multiple websites just to find a single procurement opportunity that may not even be worth your time? Well, worry no more. Small Biz Pro is the solution to your problems. Small Biz Pro is an all-in-one cloud-based business management, compliance, and procurement assistance software platform that keeps small businesses organized, contract-ready, bank loan-ready, with quick access to procurement opportunities, as well as market research data. Here are some of the features and benefits that you receive when you use Small Biz Pro to run your business daily. Superior record keeping at your fingertips, back office management and compliance, quick access to bids and procurement opportunities in government databases. It allows you to conduct easy market research and gather industry statistics, government certification preparedness and compliance checklists, easy HR and general operations management functionality, bank loan readiness preparation and cash flow management, certified payroll and labor compliance reporting, business dictionary with defined business terms.
Hello, and you are back on the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Right now, it's just Crystal. Gilbert is out. He was on a little bit earlier. So welcome back to the show. And we are welcoming back our guest that was here a couple weeks ago, Ms. M.J.Duffy. And she's here again to talk about her books. But we're going to read a little excerpt. And I thought her series, which is, the first book was Lost Love, and the second book is Captured Love, and we're waiting patiently, or impatiently, impatiently for Defiant Love. And
nothing like love. I said it's nothing like love.
Nothing like love, especially on a Valentine's Day. So these books are, they are like the imagination of Miss MJ, and she went there and above.
Okay, there and above.
And they capture your imagination and put you in the world of telepathy, history, and Zankli power. It is actually written with a historic placement in all over the world, but
that's right,
all over the world. But primarily, she's created this environment called Zankli Land, which is the precursor to Wakanda.
It was.
And so I'm just so I was so impressed with the books when I first read them that, as I said on the last show, I read them in 24 hours. So welcome back, Miss Melba.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you. This is exciting, huh?
It really is. I am just, well, first of all, I'm thrilled with your show. And let me compliment you. The information that you are really sharing is invaluable. Not just for business people, but just for life. So I really want to thank you. You know, I'm not going to be reading today because I have lost part of my voice.
Well, now you really have that sexy, sultry Valentine's Day voice.
Well, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I've lost my voice, I think, since we've been doing this show. I think I've lost my voice 3 times.
Wow.
And so I still done the show, regardless, but it just gives you that just sultry voice, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I will take that.
You'll take that. So today I'm going to be reading, but let's talk a little bit about your motivation for those that weren't tuned in the last time on writing this series. And it's actually a 4-book series, and she will be launching the 3rd book on March 29th.
At our Zankli Experience and book launch at the Culver City Veterans Memorial Complex, which is a huge complex. So we are truly inviting the community to come out and celebrate with us. Basically, their diaspora and the African diaspora. And when you read the books, you'll see that I know, as most of us do, especially anthropologists, that we're all Africans.
We are.
So when we celebrate that diaspora, everybody should come out
Yes,
and
they
say
really
thank
should.
you.
They really should. Because, yeah, exactly. And they're just the mystical allure to Africa and, the continent itself. And so you were able to capture that in all of your books. And so what was the driving force behind you
You know,
creating this?
Crystal, it really was, and it started years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was just asked earlier, when did you start writing? Well, we know that I started really right before retirement.
Okay.
But what drove me was that in all of the years, and I'm a movie buff, I love reading and I love watching movies.
Okay.
I really didn't see that many people who looked like me
Yes.
as sheroes and heroes.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And so, as a historian, which is what I have my BA in, history,
Okay.
I studied pre-Columbian history,
Mm-hmm.
Western Civ, and of course, African history,
Okay.
which meant that I not only studied about Africa and the entire continent, but also what transpired when we went on the Middle Passage.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to let you know, I wanted to write about people who look like you and I, who have a wonderful, we are really survivors. As
We
human
are.
beings, we're survivors.
We are.
And as transported immigrants
Yes.
to this continent,
Yes.
we truly are survivors.
Oh, it's just, just when I read about Mary Pleasant, just to know that there were individuals right out, because, you think of us, a lot of us, there are doctors that indicate that we were suffering post-traumatic slave syndrome, which we were because
Yes.
we were in captivity, and just
Yes.
basically our very souls and fibers, the fiber of our being stolen from us or taken away from us and minimized. And so to be able to rise up out of those ashes, because that's truly what that is, right? To rise out of those
Absolutely.
ashes and create wealth.
Yes.
And then I just always marvel when you think about Black History Month. I don't know if there's any other species that could have survived what we survived.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, because there are people that, upon emancipation, they probably were beaten the day before.
Yes.
And then there were many of them that didn't even know they had been free, because it wasn't like their slave owners were telling them, hey, you're now free and here's your going away, your severance package, right?
What many people don't talk about is the fact that even once they were free, they had to have passes to go
Right.
from one area to another area. So it wasn't like they became free
No.
and then they could just travel all over the country, because the landowners still needed to have that land worked,
Right. Exactly.
and they weren't letting it go that easily.
No, they really, and they didn't want you. I mean, yeah, because right after the slavery and we were our freedom, then you had your Jim Crow laws, which now really put you back in bondage, but a different type of bondage, right? They gave you the security or thinking that you were free, but then they created all these laws on the backside of it that
Exactly.
took away whatever freedoms they were giving you.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did have it for about 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
after the end of the Civil War.
Right.
And we did have governors, and we did have lawmakers, and we did have city and county councils.
Right.
But let me tell you, freedom is not something that is just there.
No,
You have to take it.
you have to take it.
And once you take it, you have to own it and keep it.
Right.
And so, a part of what we have to do as people, as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I include the Irish in this trek because they truly had their issues.
Right.
I include Israelis and Jews in this trek. You see, I know they all have had it. One of the things that they have had that we didn't do is we really didn't believe our ice water was as cold as
Right.
others.
Exactly.
So we haven't come, other than the civil rights movement, we really haven't come together the way we can
Yeah.
economically And yes, socially, spiritually, just think of the spiritual powers we have.
Yes. And that's something you talk about in your book series, is the
Absolutely.
coming together of us as a people, right? And using our special powers, our God-given gifts, in order to create a better life for ourselves,
Exactly.
right?
Yes, I do. I talk about that and how, as the Zonkli are a separate species,
Okay.
they are humanoids, but because of their descendancy, their legacy, they have something that we have not had, what we have not done over time.
And that is?
Joining.
Okay.
Really joining, other than the civil rights movement. And what nobody ever talks about is the backlash to that movement.
Right.
Because we had hundreds of thousands and millions of people imported into this country
Right.
to offset the fact that we said, we're not doing this. We're not going to be your help forever.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And but they, they got a good run out of us though.
They did.
And this country was created on the backs of us, and the wealth that majority of, because they were immigrants as well. You know, the slave owners were coming in from the UK, so they were immigrants, and that's how they got their start. And then was able to acquire the wealth in that short period of time.
Every influx of Europeans, Central Americans, really owe so much to the people of African descent.
Yes.
Who's in this country. Now, many people will say, get over it. Why should I get over? You're benefiting still to this day.
Oh, to this day, because that was the foundation of their wealth.
Absolutely.
So when we look at that gap came because in that same 200 years that you were acquiring wealth, and we were helping you make that wealth.
And being denied to participate in that wealth. When you talk about Mrs. Pleasant, I think about my great-grandfather, who we still own land in Texas that we cannot sell. We can develop, but he was a very smart man.
So that was in the legacy of it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think he knew that between him and me, or my son, or my grandson,
right,
that there were going to be some people that weren't quite as astute.
Yeah.
And didn't understand. So he really made it so we couldn't sell it. But do you know, lots of our land has been stolen in terms of our oil land. We're fighting today. We just won a major.
On the oil rights?
Yes,
okay.
we did. They signed a lease because he either was going to sign the lease or he was going to be dead.
Okay.
He was going to go to see God prematurely. So in that, and I'm talking about that because when you ask me the motivating factor for writing these books, one, yes, they're very salacious. They're not nasty.
No, they're not.
They're very naughty.
Yeah.
But I made it that way so that it's a very popular book. And the vocabulary is something that most of us can relate to really easily.
Right.
There are some words I throw in there.
Oh, no,
I want you to think.
I just think you're a very talented author myself. I mean, I tell you, as I said, I absolutely, truly enjoyed the first two books, and I am sitting impatiently waiting for the third book, and it's only a month away. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to your success with this book. And when you were on the show the last time, you have a cult following.
Oh, I do. I definitely do.
People were calling in from everywhere, and
yes.
and it's like, wow, they really enjoy. And then when we blasted it and boosted it on social media, there were a number of people that were very excited to. They're like, oh my God, I can't wait for the third book. I can't wait. I've been waiting for a long time. So yes, you do have a following. So with that, because we have a little bit of time, I am going to read an excerpt from the book. So now you want to go, before the third book come out, you want to go get the first book, which is The Lost Love, the Zankli Chronicles, book 1. And then on the second book is The Captured Love, and this is book 2. So you want to read these before the third book. So run out today and order them in order to get them, because you really, really want to know where because it's kind of a storyline, right? It carries
Oh,
over from
yes.
book to book.
Yes, it does. They are standalone books, but they're definitely Zonkli stories.
Right.
And the theme, and this is why I'm so happy you offered this time for me to come as a guest,
Yes.
is that love is the theme.
Yes.
And love, and my belief, as I know many do, that love can overcome any and everything.
It's really truly the fiber of who we are.
Thank
our
you.
pure our essential being.
Yes.
And God gave us that ability to love, and so you bring that so well together. So this is it's a paranormal romance novel filled with adventures, sexual encounters, deceit, retribution. Multi-dimensional characters play off each other's flaws and strengths as the story unfolds to reveal a potent blend of family business secrets, and you will really truly love this book. So we're going to get started with this chapter, and it's the Zankli Fest of the Fourth Year, 1988.
Let me just tell you a little bit about that.
Okay, please do.
The festival of the fourth year is like the Grunion, who come to California every year.
Oh.
And they struggle. There's a little fish
Right.
that just struggle to get to our beaches.
Okay.
And once they do get to our beaches, they mate. And that's the whole emphasis. Well, the festival of the fourth is so that Zonkli from all over the world come to this one place.
Okay.
This one place.
Okay, all right. So the reunion had been going on for days, and hundreds of physically dazzling men were lined up, shoulder to shoulder, on the soccer field. The men were a potpourri of human textures and shades. They displayed skin tones of every hue: mahogany, ivory, oak, walnut, pecan, and ebony, with hair types just as varied, from long and straight to big rasta rope trussels, and from curly and napped caps to bald skin heads. 18 to 60, none of the men were less than 6 feet tall, and all were larger than life in psychic gifts and intelligence. They were the brothers of a kind, kinmen of an ancient line, and they came together every 4 years to celebrate their heritage. From all over the globe, Zankli descendants returned to their ancestral land. Like the Grunions summoned to bury their eggs on the California shores each year, they answered the call. Men, women, and children, they came in droves, some individually, others in pairs, but most in family groups, irresistibly drawn to the land of their ancestors. For 15 days, they ate, drank, flirted, mated, and listened to the elders as they related tales of old. Tents were arranged in pavilion compounds that were clustered together on the 5 acres of Zankli land. The campgrounds were dotted with colorful banners and flags flying high above the doomed tents, marking the location of clans from Africa, Europe, the Americas, Caribbean, Asia, and Australia. Surrounding the campgrounds was a large athletic field, open pit cooking stations, eating and gaming benches, entertainment stages, and hundreds of vendors displaying sculptures, pottery, fine art, and jewelry. A highlight of the festivities was the organized contest where Zankli men and women competed in physical tournaments. The best of the best showcased their Olympiad talents and skills and celebrated triumph wins. More than 10,000 clansmen attended each year, and none enjoyed the reunion more than the unmated. For it was at these gatherings that a Zankli man might hear the systematic hum of his woman. Not everyone stayed the full 15 days, but everyone was presented for the mating dance, for this was where the hopes and the dreams of the Zankli were realized. This is where the continuation of the species was guaranteed. Standing side by side, Prince Hera was framed by his Don, kinsmen, and Adrian on his left and Paul on his right. The three young men had known each other since childhood, and they had an easy camaraderie despite the competitive games where inevitably one would lose to the other. The three were anxious, consumed by nervous jitters. This was the first time that the cousins had participated in the mating dance that took place every 4 years. At the previous festival of fourth year, their adolescence excluded them, and they had been relegated to watching older men enviously as they displayed their masculine prowess, stomping and leaping into the air with rhythmic expertise. Hara glanced at Adrian, a slight smirk tilting his generous mouth, the only indication that they were speaking to one another telepathically. Now, my brother, we will see who is the true master. I have defeated you this day on the soccer field, and I will triumph over you once again in the mating dance. My chosen will fling herself into my arms, and you, sadly, will be left to spill your seed on the sleeping mat. Hera flexed his chest muscles and causing his well-defined plated pecs to swell suggestively, but Adrian's laughter rang into his head. If your skill was as great as your ego, you might just fulfill your boast. Proficiently, my untutored clansman wins the prize, not bravado. Adrian's quick comeback was filled with joviality, and their banter had been honed over the years of friendly teasing. The drums began in a slow rumble, and each second brought a spine-curling let me get my voice. I can't even think the word.
What is it? Seismatic?
Yeah.
I can. Without my glass. Oh no, I can. Hold on. Let's see what we are. Synchronized.
Yeah, synchronized. There you go. Synchronized beat. The large cloth wrapped sticks landed with precision on the tight membrane stretched across the large tom-toms, and the men's feet started to slap the ground in an ancient rhythm. And these are our African words. So
let me read that.
Yeah, can you read that part? Because yes. you will know better with that one.
Yes. Took thee, Voti, Tavi tu tuk, Tukvihi, Vati, Tavi tu ituk.
Okay, there you guys got that right. Deep in their throats, the men issued a call that resonated within the people, so compelling that all Zanklis returned their cry. Chosen, he calls, come to your mate. Chosen, he calls, come to your mate. The dance was one of endurance and skill. Hara had spent many hours practicing the steps that had been choreographed to perform in a synchronized line, but that he executed with individual finesse. Hera was a master, his movements unsuppressed in the line, and the women single and mated alike watched with admiration and lust. Wow. You know what this reminds me of? When all my friends and I would go to the ski week. We were gone for like 7 days, and this is exactly what we were doing.
Watching the men, right?
Watching the men, and the men were watching the women. And
yes.
It was like a mating call after we came off the ski slopes all day long. So if you guys, sizzling stuff. And so then we got another little bit right here, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So Hera noticed her immediately. She was one of the most beautiful women that he had ever seen. She was his by his birthright. He was Zankli, and no woman of his kind could deny his call. He inhaled deeply, breathing in her woman's scent, let the air seep from his lungs, and summoned her to his side. A prince of his people, he was a direct descendant of the ancient ones, a pure breed, gifted with powers beyond most of his kind. Arrogance radiated from him, permeating every space he occupied while he was in kind most situations. He was not patient with females. They had their place. He commanded, they obeyed. Fulani felt a soft breeze against her cheeks, her like warm fingers, and the sensual air circled her throat, dipped under her wrap. Tender lips covered a breast, fastened onto her distended nipple, and suckled with exquisite finesse. Warmth radiated through her thighs. She became damp with need and was wonderful. Who was toying with her? Only few men had such powers, and Filani's eyes toured the grounds and came to a startling halt. Prince Hara, every woman on Ulu knew him. Every woman desired him. In spite of his youth, he had chosen her. His eyes were burning with desire, and he was caressing her in an old way. Now, this is all telepathically.
That's
Okay.
all telepathically. He is not, he's just dancing and snapping his shoulders and, vibrating. Just think of Rock, how he could move his pecs.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you guys. You got to image The Rock. And then he would say his voice was like warm honey. I need you. And Filani's body responded to the call. So let me add. So each one has a gift, and what are those gifts?
Well, the gifts could vary. Self-healing is one.
Okay.
Being able to mind merge and also to speak telepathically.
Okay.
To be able to control another's movements and actions.
Okay.
Now, not everyone had all of the gifts.
Okay.
And this is what it was saying about Hera.
Okay.
Hera had all of the gifts.
All of the gifts?
Yes.
Okay.
He is probably one of the strongest Zankli because he is a purebred.
Okay.
He's a purebred Zankli. His mother was a Zankli. His father was a Zankli.
Okay.
And that doesn't happen all the time. In my books, you'll see that individuals, in book 1, you see individual who was a Zankli who made it with a non-Zankli.
Okay.
Now, their child is a Zankli, but might only have 1 or 2 of the gifts and may even not have any.
And so they came together at the festival of the 4th year, right?
But there could be this, the woman never knew who her chosen was.
Okay.
The man knew only by this tsunami of emotions and this sound that would, transcend his and permeate his entire body. So I came up, because isn't that the way you feel when you meet the right person?
Yeah, they say that it has not happened to me, but they say that somebody said, "Woo-wee, listen to those rock stars." They say that when you meet that right person, that it is like a tsunami that goes to your body. And because men ask that all the time, especially young men that are asking their elders, "How do I know she's the one?" Right?
Yes.
And so you were using those
and I think we do know. It's like there are times in our life we'll say, something told me to do that.
Yeah.
Or something told me not to do that.
Right.
There is also something that tells you, hey, that's the one. Now, we don't always go with our first feeling. We know that.
Yeah.
And so if that is what happens, then you might miss out.
Because if you let your fear get in the way. I remember when my brother-in-law met my sister, they had gone on a cruise, and it just by accident he even got there. Someone pulled out before, and so the person that was putting the cruise together, she reached out, and so she reached out to a friend of his. He said, "Man, come go with me." He's like, "Well, I could use some new women. I could, and this was in his mind felt like an upscale group of women. So he's like, I'll go." So as soon as and I wasn't there, but everybody was there. All of my other friends were there, and they said as soon as he walked onto the cruise ship, he looked at her, and I guess he received the tsunami, right? So when they were at dinner later on, and my sister was like, "Ooh," he was staring at me. I didn't know what that was all about. It was making me nervous. And so they went to dinner, and they were at the table. This first night, captain's night, right? And they're all dressed up, and they're sitting at the table. and they asked him to say the prayer. Pray over the meal before they ate. So they're all with their heads bowed. And I think there's 13 of them, 12 or 13 of them. And they're with their head bowed. My sister's on the other side of the table, and he starts to pray and bless the food. And he goes, and thank you, God, for introducing me to my wife. And everybody went,
Wow.
what's happening here? And he says, she's beautiful. And then he started describing her, and she looked up and went, what is happening here? And she said, and then everybody was looking at her going, what's going on? Because they had just met.
Exactly. That's it. I remember my father told me, he said, Melba, in my life, I've only loved one woman, your mother. We couldn't stay together for whatever reasons. And I was with women before and I was with women after. But there's only one woman I ever loved.
Wow.
And that is a statement. Sometimes, for whatever reasons, we chase the person away or we deny the feeling.
Yes.
But here on Valentine's Day, I'm saying that each one of us has somebody.
Yes.
We do.
We do.
And just like our passions and what makes sense for us to do in life, sometimes we don't follow those passions.
We don't listen. We are very fearful of being that vulnerable, I think, because to be in love is setting yourself up for all your vulnerabilities. It could be wonderful and it can be painful at the same time. And so if your fear gets in the way, and I think and as we have evolved to these new people, we tend to push away what could be there for us out of fear.
Mm-hmm. And also because of the mere fact that we, in many cases, don't believe in love anymore. Right. There are many of us walking around saying, what is it?
Yeah.
And it's staring you in the face every single day.
Right.
So I encourage people to explore.
Okay.
I encourage people you don't have to be on a quest. Actually, it's going to come to you. Right. But to be open.
To be open to it. To allow that love to come into your spirit.
Absolutely.
And then to trust it. And allow yourself to be vulnerable to accept it.
That's right. I really do that. I don't know if there's any listener out there that's had that tsunami feeling toward another human being. One of the things I do tell women, men love the chase.
Yeah.
And they love the conquest. The moment you say, oh, I want him, you need to really consider
letting him do the chase, because that's innately what's supposed to happen, right?
That's
his purpose is for conquest.
Yes.
Right. So he's just like they're doing in the dance. They're enticing, and then your allure is bringing the two spirits together. But you got to let him be able to come after you, and then you'll know that he loves you. And you don't have to question that.
You don't question it, and that's another thing. When I was a young student at UCLA, I was walking around across campus. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, and I was walking across what they call the commons then, where people would sit and eat. Mm-hmm. And there came this voice, ooh-wee, I want to marry you for a night. The whole commons just fell out. And doesn't that say it? I don't want somebody for a night.
Right. Exactly.
I want a person who wants me for a lifetime.
Right, exactly. You want that the music of a dance. Right?
Yes.
You're leading, I'm following, and we are sensing each other's movement. And we know exactly when the turn is coming. We know exactly when we're to back up and to move forward. That's exactly. So women, that's what you're looking for here for this Valentine's Day. This has been a great show. Now, Miss Melba, Miss M.J.Duffy here, her books are for sale on Amazon?
That is correct. They can go right to Amazon and they can buy the books. But if you want to come out and celebrate with us, and really talk about who you are, what you are, and really get that feeling, please come out on March 29th at our Zankli experience, because truly we have the kind of event that really celebrates your essence and who you are.
I'm looking forward to it. We, in addition to the book series, she also has a product line, and this is one of the red wines, the Zankli Blackberry Merlot, and it's the romantic blend. So if anyone, so here's what we're going to do. For, there's a ticket price, right?
There is a ticket price for anyone that uses the Business Zone.
Right.
Instead of paying $75, which does include 2 books, instead of paying that, you only pay $60.
Okay. So we want you guys. So we're at the bottom, the beginning, the end of our show. But next Friday, if you call in and purchase, tell us you want to purchase tickets for yourself and your friends. We want some. Then if you bring us 5 friends and buy 5 tickets, we will send you this beautiful, wonderful bottle of wine, Zankli Red. So you want to call us at 323-293-3375. You can go to our website, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. Send me an email at cmitchell544@gmail.com and let me know that you want to buy your 5 tickets, and we will send you this bottle of wine, and you will get the first book, Lost Love. So get on the phone. I'm going to boost that all over the internet, the airways this weekend and up until next Friday. And then we will make sure you get your book and your bottle of wine. So first, bring 5 friends with you to the Zankli experience on March 29th. What's the time?
It's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And just another thing to make sure you know that there is food. It's Caribbean food, there's African food, there's corporate American food, and there is South Central food, because my books go all over.
Okay, so you guys hear that. So you want to come out. I'm going to be there. I'm emceeing, aren't I?
That's right.
Okay, so I'm emceeing. I'm excited. You guys should be excited. You want to come out and get your books. And you want to be able to, because this books will help you. If you haven't found that tsunami of love, these books will help you get to that tsunami of love.
Also, Mother Love will be there. And she's going to host a game, a love game.
Ooh.
And we have prizes.
Okay, so if you mention the Business Zone, you'll get your tickets for $60 and you get a book. 2 books or 1 book?
They'll get 2 books if they buy it before February 20th.
So you got to buy your book before February 20th. So you got until next Friday and get your book and get your 5 tickets with your 5 friends. If you want to bring more, we welcome that as well. We want this to be an amazing book launch, and we want to celebrate this 3rd book in this amazing series. Like I said, I can't wait. I'm going to have to clear my schedule, so I better get all my work done right now so I'll have time to read the 3rd book in 24 hours.
I love it.
I'm looking forward to it. So, guys, it has been great. Have a wonderful, safe, but loving Valentine's Day. Make note, there's several videos up on our Facebook page with all the events that's going on. I'll be putting those flyers up on the Business Zone and my page as well. Miss Duffy, how do they reach you?
They can reach me at M.J.Duffy.com. But we're all over social media. And if you just use the Business Zone, you're going to get that wonderful discount. And I just want to encourage everybody to come out and celebrate the Zankli experience.
All righty. So have a fantastic week, guys. We've come to the end of the show. We wish you much love and have a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you next Friday.
Okay.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.